Final of the men's single sculls with the world champion in lane 4.
And this race so difficult to call. The last year's sculling final was one of the best races I've ever seen, with such a brave start by Hacker, going out and leading. And I would have thought if Hacker's going to win here on his home territory, he's got to lead out early. But and it's a good start by him. Drysdale back there, just in the pack, but Hacker's gone out with intent.
Yeah, Drysdale normally through the first 500 takes him the first 500 metres to establish his own rhythm, and then he sort of understands the race pace, and he finishes, of course, very strongly, as we've seen. On the near side here, Andre Sinek, just seemingly at the end of what has been a long season. Well, last season it happened to him. He seemed to run out of gas. Yeah,
talking to Alan Campbell, he thinks that Sinek's been disguising his form in these races. He's just done enough to sneak in every single time, in the quarters, in the semi-finals. And Alan Campbell, who's one of the favourites, I think, for a medal here, he's out in the lead at the moment in that white bud on the far side. He's saying, look, you know, I know Sinek's going to be quick in this race. They all know each other so well, these scullers.
And interesting to see, too, from the top of your picture, Olaf Tufte, the Olympic champion, very much to the fore in this final. He's another man who often plays the waiting game.
Well, I don't know what Tufte's doing, because as far as I know, Tufte is a guy who's got a fantastic sprint finish, and I'm thinking, why is Tufte out there with Campbell? What's he trying to do? And this is a tactic I haven't seen from him, which actually puts another ingredient in the mix of this fantastic men's single sculls field.
Mahe Drysdale, the fastest single sculler in the world ever, 6:35.40 last year in winning the title in Eton. I don't think it'll be as quick as that today, and it's not about time, it's all about crossing that line in first place. Sinek on the near side there, aware of the fact that Tufte pushing on there with Alan Campbell, and this is not what we expected, Martin. We didn't expect that Tufte would be taking it on and throwing it down to Campbell and Drysdale.
No, Campbell would expect to be in the lead. He's got a blistering first 500, he can really push on in the second. There's no way, really, you'd pick Tufte as a leader with about 600-700 metres gone. Hacker is out of it, he looks slow, he doesn't look to have the same pace as last year. Karonin on the far side, I don't think is going to medal, so we've got 4 scullers here for the 3 medals, and Tufte, well, what is it, he's rating about 36, 37 strokes a minute, which is very, very high for this point in a sculling race. Normally you'd expect the rating to be about 32 as they go through 750, but Tufte's trucking out there.
Coming towards the end of the first half of the race there, Tufte, who really has picked up the pace. It'll be interesting to see his time for the first quarter. It was Alan Campbell who was quickest in the first 500, 1:38.52. But this is an impressive second quarter by Olaf Tufte, the Olympic champion, now 31 years of age, and hungry, I think, for one more Olympic gold medal before he perhaps concentrates on the family farming business.
Yeah, and he's hurting. You can look at his pace and you think, well, he's got another 1,100 metres to go. How can he continue that pace? I mean, fantastic endurance. He had problems in the heat with asthma, and it really affected him, and so he's recovered really well through the championships, and he'll be very pleased with this form.
So only half the job done, though, because it's Tufte. Drysdale now moving up on Campbell, and I can give you that time. Tufte 1:43.15 for that second 500 there, and Drysdale second quickest, which is why he's now moved up into the silver medal position.
Yeah, and there's Tufte again, tremendous pace. Alan Campbell has looked so impressive here. One is heat, one is quarter-final, one is semi-final. It seems to be a different game now. The standards moved up, and Campbell is knowing that he's got to do something special, but Hacker out of it.
Yeah, and I wonder whether this is perhaps the old problem for Marcel Hacker. This is such a mental challenge as well as a physical one. And if it goes against you, and I'm not really picking out Hacker because it could happen to lots of scullers, it could happen to a lot of athletes. Once it suddenly leaves you, there's nothing you can do about it.
Look at that finish push from Mahe Drysdale. I mean, he uses that in the second half, but he locks on with his legs, and then just there's such a surge, an acceleration of the blades in the second half of the stroke. Much more so, I think, than Tufte. He's really used that, pushes it off, and that's a sensational sprint through Tufte. And Campbell's hanging on well in there. So I think, you know, again, we've got these 4 scullers for the 3 medals, but Drysdale looks awesome.
Yeah, Sinek, who's just out of picture there. You can just see the bow of Andre Sinek from the Czech Republic, just beginning to get into the action now as Alan Campbell comes under a little bit of pressure. And Chuter looking concerned as well. Chuter really gasping in the oxygen, and there's nothing he can do about the man from the West End Rowing Club who's coming through with clear water as he enters the 500 metres that matter most. And Sinek now coming up on Campbell, and Chuter hanging on, and Hacker getting the better of Karonen on the far side there, but he's not going to get a medal. That'll be really disappointing for Marcel Hacker and his fans here. There's a terrific crowd here, fantastic turnout for the organisers, and you can see that peloton of cyclists on the far side. If you could see the crowd in the grandstands, it's massive.
Yeah, massive crowd, and I tell you, it's dangerous in that peloton. I've seen a few crashes in there this week, but one guy who's not going to crash is Mahe Drysdale, because not only has he carried on that sensational pace in the third 500, he's extended it into the last 500. There is no one that's going to catch him there. But Chuter hanging on after that brave second 500 metres. And I guess Campbell and Sinek, and can Campbell find the sprint finish which he showed here last year to beat Hacker in that first World Cup when he burst on the scene?
And 1:41.99 for Drysdale in that third quarter. That's why he is where he is, and he's not slackening it off. Chuter really gutsing it out now with Campbell and also Sinek on this near side here. The angle is very deceptive. Chuter trying to come back. Sinek on the near side closing as well. And now you can see Sinek with the bow of his single scull ahead of the Norwegian on the far side. Campbell in fourth place and out of the medals. And the race that Sinek and Chuter are putting on is drawing them closer on Drysdale. But we're coming to the line, and it is going to be an unprecedented 3 in a row. The world champion in 2005, 2006 is now the champion in 2007. A silver medal for Sinek, who moves up from bronze, and the Olympic champion Chuter has the bronze medal to add to his many, many honours. But Mahe Drysdale, well, arguably now amongst the greats, the likes of Peter Michael Colbert, Thomas Langer, Rob Woodell, Bertie Karpinen. And if he can get the Olympic gold next year, that'll seal it.